Welcome to Vital Signs with Lisa Williams. This is a podcast about hope and the power and resilience of the human spirit. Today, we're going to highlight the demands of nursing with one of our CNAs who is definitely a frontliner. And we're going to talk about her day to day working in a long term care facility as a CNA and the challenges that she goes through along with a lot of her coworkers on a day-to-day basis. So frontliner, come on into the room. Welcome to Vital Signs with Lisa Williams. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on to Vital Signs with Lisa Williams. Before I get started, let me say this. Thank you so much for your service.
No problem. It is a true passion of mine to take care of people, so no worries.
Perfect. Well, let's just dive right on into it because I just want to share with the people about what's going on in long term care facilities that's not really talked about, what goes on in hospitals that's not really talked about from the frontliners themselves. So, my first question would be lack of staffing. That's probably the number one issue that's going on. The lack of staffing and the basically the compromised quality of care that patients receive. So, Ms. Frontliner, from your perspective and from your paradigm of the world, how is it going for you as a CNA having short staffing and having to basically cover additional responsibilities on top of what you already have as a CNA?
Definitely. So it is super chaotic. The more patients that we're assigned, like the quality of care definitely goes down. So
Mm,
on any given day, we can expect shortages, and
yes.
that can sometimes double our caseload or like the amount of patients that we have assigned. Now, understand we only have an 8-hour shift. So within those 8 hours, we have a certain amount of patients that we're expected to bathe. If they have accidents, some patients have to be turned every 2 hours. Like it is crazy. And in addition to that, you have to serve the meals. And with that,
Mm-hmm.
most of the patients that are on the wings or assigned to your unit, they are unable to feed themselves or they have some type of issue eating their food, therefore they need assistance. And typically, like if you sit down and feed one patient, that's going to take anywhere from about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you
Wow.
have 15 patients, understand how much time that would have to take. So a lot of times we don't get to even see if the patient can eat their full meal because we are upheld to such high standards of getting all these things done for the patients, and it's not reasonable and it's not feasible. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's how a lot of the infections and things come to play because in addition to all of this, we have patients that are like on isolation. You have a certain degree of personal protection equipment that you have to put on before entering the room. Okay, that can take 5 to 7 minutes to get a gloves on, gown, hair nets, all this kind of stuff to go into a room. Like we really limit the amount of times we go in there because of that increased amount of time that we have to put on personal protection gear.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, in an 8-hour shift, you are so limited to what you can do. Sometimes we just have a heavy caseload or like a heavy patients on that unit. So it's
Wow.
really demanding, and us being understaffed, it's like a constant thing. It's not a once a week type of thing. It's just about every day.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I was waiting to hear you say how often does the lack of staffing, the shortages, how often does it happen in every
It,
day? I hear this
every day.
all day. Yeah,
Yes.
all day, every day, frontline. I hear it. And
And I think that
go
a big
ahead.
shift that's going on right now is especially in long term care facilities, because having a job like that full time is like crazy.
Mhm.
So they're opting to like try to fill these shifts with different contract workers. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good, I'm a contract worker myself, and there are a lot of really good contract workers. But there are some contract workers that just like to come and ride it out, and ride the time clock and get a check. And they are so unattached to the needs and the care of the people in the facilities.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that too. Well, let me ask you this question. Kind of a little bit of what you just said with say the ones that come in and say they may be staff or per diem. Would you say in your experience that when people that don't really have that relationship with those residents, would you say that they come in with a mindset of, let me just pass the time? I already know I'm not going to be able to get to all these residents, because of just basically what I have to do as a CNA, just the paperwork, the medications, the feeding. That's just a smidget of what you have to do. But would you say that the CNAs or the LPNs or the RNs that come in that's not there on a regular basis, would you say they come in with a mindset of already defeated based on what you go through every day?
I would say there are I have ran across really, really, really good contract
Mm-hmm.
people, and I pride myself on being a really good contract worker. However, there is a portion of contract workers, they do come in with that mindset. They understand the demands of the job and they're realistic with themselves, and they just do what they can as they can without overworking themselves. Your check does not change, by the amount of what you do and don't get done for the shift.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some people that come in with that mindset. And I
Yeah,
think
see,
that
absolutely.
attributes to a lot of the lack of the quality care. Is just, it's a lot of work and there's not
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Yes, and thank you for saying that because I was gonna piggyback right back off of you. We don't wanna paint a picture that people that work in long-term care facilities or hospitals or healthcare period, that they're bad people. There are some great people across the entire world, and great workers. However, we have some not so great workers as well. So we don't want to paint a picture that agency or staffing or full timing or anyone
Yeah.
that's working in a healthcare facility are poor workers or bad workers. But we're talking about the basic bottom line truth right here. And that's the shortages and challenges working in long term care facilities or the healthcare industry, period. So I want everybody to understand the truth is the truth. And I promised you on Vital Signs with Lisa Williams, that is what we will be talking about, the truth, the gusto. So thank you so much for saying that because I know there are some that actually, that really, really care, but at the same time, their hands are tied
Yes, ma'am.
because of the lack of staffing, the shortages. Their hands are tied because the workload is so heavy, and don't even get on the emotional toil,
Yes.
that this can cause not just for the caretaker, but for the resident. The emotional toll that it takes on them because they're not able to receive the quality care,
Right.
that they deserve. And
And
it's
understand that's a baseline. That is a
mhm,
baseline daily, day to day thing. So I'm
yes.
saying all that to say, consider if someone has like a stroke or a heart attack or cold blue, that takes time and to get them stabilized and all of that good stuff. So who's taking care of the rest of the residents when or patients when we are all attached to this one person to take
Mhm.
care of them? So it's
Wow.
a lot. It's a lot. Things happen throughout the day, and yes, it can definitely throw off the workload. And that's on top of being understaffed. Things
Mm,
happen. It's a healthcare facility, so of course, you expect emergencies, things of that sort to happen. So that also plays a big toll in like not getting to everybody. It's just the nature
mhm.
of the job.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why we want to highlight, the day-to-day demands of nursing. And it's not just nurses, it's patients as well. And I got a couple of family members that kind of backed up on them speaking what they observe as well, because a lot of time family members are going into our hospitals or long-term care facilities providing the care for their family member themselves because they totally can see what you guys are going through every day, and the lack of quality care, if care at all, that the patient is receiving. So, do you see a lot of the family members coming in and pitching in, and working on a lot of patients that you see throughout the day?
So that's really, and this is just me being 100% honest, that is
Thank you.
really the only time that a patient gets quality care is when
Mhm.
they have a family member that comes and attends to their every need.
Absolutely. If I'm being 100% honest, that is the only time that a resident can get quality care 100% is when the family member is coming in and providing it. So, I mean, let's just keep it real. It's just the truth of the matter, in the world today. It's just the truth of the matter. So, thank you so much again for being so forthcoming and so honest. But if I may, I want to talk about for you as a nurse, the emotional toll that it takes on you. What do you do, or what can you suggest to someone else how to disconnect from it? Because I know some of the nurses I've talked to, they're just like, Miss Lisa, I can't disconnect. I can clock out, but when I go home, I carry it with me. It's always with me because I can't get to someone today. I couldn't change them today. I couldn't feed them but maybe 2 teaspoons of food today. You know, I know that I had 23 patients. It's just me. I'm only one person. I was only able to get to 3 or 4 of them in an 8-hour span because, like you said, you got to feed them. You got to change them. Some of them you got to lift. I mean, it's just so many things. And then you got to make your notes. And then you got to check your checks, dot your I's, and cross your T's. It's so much more than just dealing with the patient one on one. You have the other part of your job to do. So, my question is the emotional toll for you. How do you disconnect, if you can at all, once you clock out of your 8 hour or your 12-hour day?
Again, just to be 100% honest,
Hmm?
in order for a job or a position like that not to take a toll on you, you have to learn how to literally, emotionally disconnect from that
Yes.
because you have to leave work at work and you have to have a decompression routine and you have to sometimes vent or journal whatever it is that you have to do to calm yourself. You have to spend, your weekends off recreationally because it's crazy. It is
Hmm.
nonstop. And my heart really goes out to the people that are unable to disconnect, or they are working 7 shifts in one week because they need to cover rent. Everyone is not afforded the opportunity or the ability to disconnect in that manner. But I think time away and like not thinking about the job, that
Hmm.
really, that's the only way that you can keep a job like that from not taking an emotional toll on you, because it will get you when your heart and your passion is with taking care of people and you know that you are unable to provide that high quality of care that you want to. You have to be realistic about it, and you have to disconnect from it, because if
Wow.
not, that's a
Hmm.
heavy burden to carry on you.
Hmm. Absolutely. What kind of support do you feel that you're getting, or what's the lack of support you feel you're getting when you're at work providing care to the patients?
Definitely. So there is no support.
Mm.
You can ask, and this is just me speaking from a position of a CNA. Typically, it is difficult to even get another CNA to help you turn a patient. getting a nurse to assist you with something or check something out. It's just the demands that are placed on them as well is so much to where they're almost even unable to help you with something that you need help with. So, as we continue going up the ladder, the director of nursing, you are just about invisible unless something happens.
Hmm.
Yes, so it's really a lack of support. Every blue moon, you'll find like another good CNA that you can really depend on, like with helping you with things. But again, they're so swamped and bombarded with their own tasks to where it is like you'll have to wait about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, if not longer than that, before they can come help you get Miss Susie in a bath chair and get her down, you know what I'm saying, to get her bath today.
Wow, that's rough. That's rough. And my heart and prayers go out to all of those residents, to all of our frontliners, and to all of those families. I always say it here that a lot of people never think of a nurse until they need one. So I encourage all of our listeners, please, please, if there is anything you can do by listening and sharing this information or getting this information to the big wigs that really need to hear it, that can do something about it to get our frontliners and most important, our patients, some help, some extra support. Definitely, I can get the word out because when we're aware of these things, something could be done about it. I wanted to thank you for your time. The listeners, thank you for your time and your transparency and your honesty. Thank you so much because that's what it's going to take in order for something to change. So please, please, I encourage anyone listening to the sound of our voices and you have a story like this or similar to this, please just go on to Lisa at vitalsciencepodcast.org and sign up to get onto the podcast. And we'll get you on so you can tell your truth as it is where you are and what's going on with you. So, Frontliner, is there anything that I may have missed that you may have wanted to share or say or add?
No, I think we covered just about everything. It's the time constraints, the staffing, and it leads to a really poor quality of care for a lot of people. So,
Yeah, which is such a shame because we all deserve, every single person deserves to have quality care and to build those bridges of a relationship, because that's another thing I meant to say that, you see these residents all the time. And unfortunately, because of the time restraints and so much to do, the relationship is lost. Even if it's an opportunity to be built, it's lost because they get lost in the shuffle of the day-to-day demands of nursing. So thank you so much. We so appreciate your service, your sacrifice, and most importantly, your dedication. Because I know a lot of people, they want to get into nursing because they have the heart for it, they have the skill set for it, but it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. So, of course, we need our nurses. And please, please go to school, get your information, get your skill set. You are needed. But understand this, you got to know what you're getting into. Got to know. And this is the area of information, but you are definitely needed. We love you. We appreciate you. And again, thank you for your sacrifice across the board. So, Frontliner, thank you so much for coming on to Vital Signs with Lisa Williams. And I'll be talking to you again. We are so grateful and so honored that you chose the profession that you're in, because without you, I don't know where we would be. We already got a shortage. So, without you, I don't know where we would be. And without all of you that are there that are grinding every day, thank you for your sacrifice and thank you for your service. God bless you, Frontliner, CNA.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Lisa. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. God bless you and have a great rest of your day, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Bye bye.